I mean, I'm not a very religious person, but I kind of remember being like, okay, well, everybody says, all of my religious friends say, God has a plan and we don't know God's plan and we have to trust in God's plan. What kind of God has a plan to kill off a girl's mother twice?
Hello and welcome to Guess Who Died, a podcast where we talk about who died and how we feel about it with Jeff, myself, Julia, and producer Casey in the back. All right, Jeff, I don't have a huge list this week, but I am curious, who died?
I'm going to bring Jim Lovell.
Oh.
Astronaut, Apollo 13.
Oh.
Died at 97. And what a life. And
Died at 97 or in 97?
at 97 years old.
Okay.
I heard in 97. I was like, that's not how this show
I
works.
just totally glazed over to Casey in slow motion, like, what year is it?
I got a little robotic there. Died at 97. It just, astronaut, space. I've always been interested in it. And Tom Hanks brought him to the screen, and Jim Lovell was part of telling that story on the screen. And they said it was a bad accident, but such a success because of them living when they really shouldn't have lived when everything went wrong with Apollo 13. He had that dream of walking on the moon and wasn't able to do it, and made it possible for people after him to be able to do it because of the mistakes they figured out, the accident that happened, and the things they fixed to make it even better.
True American hero.
100%.
No doubt.
And the thing I think that makes them heroes is because of the people that lost their lives before the moon missions, the people that lost their lives after the missions, and we still keep shooting for the stars. And he was a prime example of somebody that stayed a part of shooting for those dreams even after something so crazy happened.
I'm tense just living in that, everything you just said. I'm so
yes.
stressed thinking about space travel.
I'm grateful you brought him to the table today, Jeff.
That's a good one.
I didn't clock that he had even passed.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah, just the other day. So that's what I'm going to bring today.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring somebody other than
The
actors,
obvious.
sports.
Yes.
Yeah.
You didn't want Julia to roll her eyes at you.
I know.
I know, and
I
even
can
then-
feel it from the side.
Usually outer space is a good get with me, but this one I just bypassed it. So, all right.
Julia.
Mine is Brandon Blackstock. AKA, I just started talking right before we went on mic, and I started to say, I had this person on my list, but I had them listed by their descriptor, is how I was going to tell you. I had them written as Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband.
Oh, yes.
Kelly Clarkson's
my
ex-husband,
gosh,
Brandon
yeah.
Blackstock. And it's just this weird turn of events because I'm talking about what we know in the media, but it was
Right.
drama between them in a
Yes.
very messy divorce and custody situation. And then she canceled her shows.
residency.
Yes,
Yeah.
and recited his illness. And then within 24 hours, he died.
Yeah.
And so it makes me think of just the complicated relationships that people can have.
I agree. And I think it's interesting from a cultural perspective of was not the celebrity. Right? I don't know what his role was, what he did, but he was Kelly Clarkson's husband.
I mean, that's exactly, I know,
That's
exactly.
it.
That was
And
his.
even being, celebrity by proxy.
Yep.
Yeah, very interesting.
I think what I read too was how she, her emotions and the fact that she was able to be there for her child, and the fact that she had such a relationship with him that wasn't
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
And it didn't turn out great. And the way she was there for her child losing her father. And it's still going to hurt. It's somebody you loved.
Yes.
And you're still going to have that emotion. I know we talked about that last time when you lose somebody that you're not with.
Right.
Or we talked about it at some point. And you go through all the emotions of, okay, I missed the person that he was. And then you take yourself to that angry spot that got you, that you were there for. Yeah, anyway. Yeah. And I saw my mom did the same thing when my dad passed. She was like, oh, I missed home. And then she remembered all the stuff that split them up, and she was mad at him by the end of the week. But I think it's really cool how Kelly Clarkson handled it, as we read in the media. And yeah.
I think that's something that Julia deals with regularly in her day job here at Olivia's house, but looking at families and understanding the complexity of it and saying it's time to put your children first. You have feelings. At one point you loved them. We can go there to support your kiddos.
Yeah.
That's a challenge for you.
It is. And I think something like this, where Kelly Clarkson experiencing what we call a disenfranchised loss, it is her ex that she had a very messy relationship with. And I imagine he caused her a lot of grief during their life at the end, before his illness, I mean, but to talk about that and for her to say to her fans, I need grace from you.
Yes.
I need to, whether it's to be there for her child, whether it's just going through it herself, that doing that publicly then gives other people permission to do that too without feeling judgment. And that can help enfranchise the loss.
Absolutely. And I think just being able to say to people, I'm mad at him, but I still mourn him.
Yes.
And that's massive. We are complex in our emotions. And
Yeah.
I think that she publicly, like you say, showing that is great.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Agreed. All right,
Here you
Casey,
go.
who do you have?
Okay. Jeff's looking at me because he knows I have to bring the one. I have a list here. Obviously, I got to bring the one since no one did it. So, I'm going to burn through Bobby Whitlock.
That
and
was my next
Derek
one.
And the Dominoes.
I
We
know.
got to just say it.
We do.
Big Dominoes fan. So that's there. We got to go through quick. Lonnie Anderson.
Oh, yeah, Lonnie.
Classic,
Saw that,
Classic.
yes.
You can't not mention her. But, real American. The Hulkamania. We lost Hulk Hogan.
Oh, that was
Before.
No, that wasn't. Did we already
Yeah,
talk
we
about
talked about
Hulk?
him last time. Yeah.
I don't remember talking about Hulk.
Yeah, it was all in 1 week.
Was that the same
You know
day as
what?
Ozzy?
It was the day after Ozzy.
Oh, you're
You know,
right.
Because we broke
It
Ozzy
was
on the
the
last
day
one.
after Ozzy.
That is that's yeah, exactly right. It was the day after. I'm mowing the lawn and I got a message. I'm like, what?
I will.
Oh my God. I'm over here like, cut this. No, you're right.
I will accept your on-air apologies.
On-air apology delivered.
I just had to rewind. I'm like,
Yes.
oh yeah, that was a day or two
remember-
after.
Yes.
We have had a lot. We were mourning Ozzy, and then Hulk popped.
You are so right. That was it was the very next day.
And don't, everyone, the politics of Hulk aside and his personal life being what it is. Again, we cannot deny the cultural influence that Hulkamania had in the 80s and 90s.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so much. I mean, even like the Hogan family values
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Like when I was at someone's house that had cable TV, that was on and I'd be watching it. And it was
Yeah.
like even someone who did nothing to do with wrestling, I was connected to it.
Exactly.
2004 York Fair. We had his daughter Brooke.
Oh yeah.
She opened that night, and I got to go to the Shrewsbury Walmart and introduce Hulk to come on up on stage to introduce Brooke. And Jimmy the Mouth of the South Heart was his manager. Which, he was a villain, back in the WWF times. And I got to meet Hulk.
Yes.
It was so cool. I didn't realize how cool it was going to be until face to face. I'm like, you're Hulk Hogan.
That's
man."
awesome. That is so cool.
It's a personality bigger than life, right?
Oh my gosh,
It
yeah.
just, he had that. It's that presence that you can't deny.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Rally him up.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that was great. Good stuff.
I would love to have had the opportunity to see what he was like in a quiet manner. What was he like when he was not on screen, when he wasn't on stage, when he wasn't performing? Was he quiet or was he always that way? Like, what was the persona?
He was pretty laid back that day, very protective of Brooke.
Yeah.
He was very protective. Now, apparently, they weren't speaking at the end. That seems to be the
she
case.
asked to be taken out of his will.
Wow.
Yeah, so she won't receive
Wow.
anything from his estate.
I didn't watch that show,
Yeah.
but I'm not surprised.
Again, I don't know all of the particulars,
Yeah.
and it is. I think that's one of the neat parts is that everyone has a complicated journey,
Sure.
but it doesn't take away as well from so much of what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's how Hulkamania.
Sorry, we forgot about you.
It just seems like it's true. It seems like we talked about it.
It
but
does.
We send those texts,
Yes,
and
we do.
and we wonder. And was it me or did you send it while I was on vacation by Ryan Sandberg?
I did send it while you were on vacation.
Cubs. Sorry.
I know.
Facebook,
I
yes.
responded, darn, sad face.
Again, yeah, Ryan Sandberg that was as well after our show.
That was last week of July, early August here.
incredible baseball player from my youth. Sorry, Julia.
We had to do.
We
it.
had to bring it
good
up.
one.
So we once again, here we are every month. We've got great people to talk about and lives and legacies that'll last forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. And speaking of, different family dynamics, I am very excited to welcome our guest on today. We are very shortly going to be welcoming Jamie into the studio. Jamie has had loss interwoven throughout her life in a very fascinating way that I can't wait to find out more about and how family plays into that now.
Should be another interesting conversation today.
Can't wait. We'll catch you back here soon on Guess Who Died? Olivia's House is an independent, freestanding, nonprofit grief and loss center that supports children and their families before, during, or after a loss, all at no cost. When death enters your house, you are welcome at our house, where families are met with professional care, expert guidance, and resources for children and teens of any age. Nestled in central Pennsylvania, Olivia's House continues to be the premier independent grief and loss center.
Welcome back to Guess Who Died. I'm Jeff, along with Julia and producer Casey. We've got our next guest ready to go, and the story of...
Jamie, welcome to the pod, Jamie. It's good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you were just saying off mic. I mean, obviously the title of the pod is Guess Who Died. You made the comment that you have a crazy experience with loss.
So when I was 13, my mom passed away from a cancer called natural killer lymphoma, which is like a blood cancer. It attacks your natural killer cells, which are they're the cells that like help you fight off disease. So they like run all through your body. So there's no way to really condense it. I was asking my dad the other week, I was like, was it like stage 4? Like, what did they tell you? And he was like, yeah, I don't even think they like labeled it. He was like, because she was at Johns Hopkins. They just didn't really know what was going on. They were so like baffled by the case that he was like, I don't think they ever labeled it, but it definitely was stage 4 because they couldn't contain it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, did you ask your dad that question because you knew you were coming on the podcast?
Yeah.
I love
like,
that.
I need to fact check.
Yes.
And it was how many weeks from here to there? And he was like, yeah, it was about 8 weeks from diagnosis to when she passed away. Jeez. And I think they had gone on vacation and then they got back and she was sick. And so I think there was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before York Hospital figured out what it was. And then from there, it was like 8 weeks from diagnosis to death. So,
And you were 12, you said?
I was 13.
13? Oh.
13 going on 14, yeah.
An intense age to lose a mom.
Yeah.
And so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still pretty sudden, an 8-week span to find out and to deal with that and then to deal with the loss.
Yeah. And I remember like I had lost my aunt when I was like 6 and she had cancer also. And so my only experience of cancer was you have cancer, you die. Oh. So I'm in this thing going like, okay, well, she's going to die. Like when is she going to die? She's going to die. And I remember my cousin whose mom it was like, look, like my mom was different. Your mom is fighting. They're going to figure it out, blah, blah, blah. Well, she was trying to stay positive, I guess, which was nice, but it was just such a crazy whirlwind of.
Yeah, tell me about that because they're on vacation. You're 13. Your parents come home. Your mom's sick. Like, what was happening? I mean, was she like?
Yeah, so I think I don't really remember. This was, I mean, it's been 21 years. She died in 2004. So I think she had like a rash or something before they went on vacation. They went away with friends of theirs to celebrate their upcoming 20th wedding anniversary, and my mom had just graduated from York College with her teaching degree. So it was this big like dual celebration thing. They went away for I think like 10 days.
Where were you? Who'd you stay with during?
My grandma came and visited.
Okay.
Stayed and hung out. So it was, fun. But
Jeff and I are both like party.
I mean, it was party with grandma.
Exactly. Those are the best kind.
I think she had like a rash and we just thought it was like, oh, the laundry detergent or like the dry cleaner or whatever.
Of course.
And they went away. She got sick when they were in Mexico. And the doctor on the resort was like, oh, it's just like Montezuma's revenge. It's a virus. Like she'll get over it and she'll be fine. Well, they flew home. They flew into Harrisburg and they like immediately went to the hospital because she was she had a fever, I think, not doing well. And so we like went to bed knowing they were home, but we didn't see them until the next day. And I remember getting like, the gifts. I have the ring on still. It was a ring and a t-shirt, I think they got for me. And
you have that exact ring on right now?
I don't take it off. And the Claudia ring came from my stepmom. So
we'll get there.
We'll get
my
there.
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
But so, I mean, I remember we got the gifts. And then, I mean, I think from there she was kind of in and out of the hospital because she kept spiking these fevers. We didn't know what was going on. And so it was a lot of just like going to school, getting picked up, going to the hospital, going home, doing homework, going to school, getting picked up. It was just kind of on repeat until they figured out kind of what was going on. And then my family had been trying to get her to Hopkins or Penn or Jefferson, like somewhere bigger, because York is I love it, but it's a podunk little town,
Yes.
And so the hospitals are not meant for these kinds of things. And so we were just actively trying to get her anywhere, New York, anywhere that was bigger, stronger, better. And finally they got her into Johns Hopkins. And so then it was kind of on repeat. We'd go to school Thursday afternoon. My dad would come home from work, because that was the other thing. He traveled for work every week, all week, Monday through Thursday, typically. So my grandma never left, or she left and she came back, pretty much right away. And so, she was making sure that we got to school while my mom was in the hospital, and my dad would work, come back on Thursday. We'd go down after school, kind of repeat the whole thing. And then on the weekends, we did the same thing. And that was, 2 months.
What a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Seriously. I'm curious, having been a 13-year-old girl myself, it's a very self-centered time. I can imagine feeling, were you having moments of like, why me? Tell us what that was like. Was it, because a lot of people would think you must have been just so sad for those 8 weeks. And I'm sure sad was part of it, but what else was wrapped up in that?
Well, the thing about my relationship with my mom was we were like the best of friends. And so it was, not only are you struggling with this as like a parent, but I struggled with friendships when I was in middle school and whatever, and she was always there, and so we would do like shopping trips and movie dates and all the things. And so it was sort of this dual loss that was happening. It was like you're losing your mom, but you're also losing your best friend, because in the crumminess of being a 13-year-old girl, nobody's there the way your mom is there,
And that's a lonely time to not have a friend, though.
Yeah. And so it was just, there was some like, why me? I think that came bigger into play later in life. But I think it was just a lot of my world was falling apart, and then I have my dad, who I love dearly, and cannot say a bad thing about my dad, but he was on the road 4 days of the week for my entire life up to that point. So I knew him, but I knew him as the fun dad that was home Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that took us to the mall and got us ice cream. And, he wasn't the structured parent, if you will. Or
he didn't know what the Wednesday morning routine was.
Right, exactly. And he, teenage girls, what a foreign concept to him, So, so it was, it was this losing all of everything that you knew. And then on top of that, I have to figure out what this means. Now I'm going to be raised by this man who doesn't know what periods are and tampons are, and I remember I had never worn tampons before, because I was young. And I remember after my mom died, I went up to him and was like, Dad, Mom never let me wear tampons. Can I wear tampons now? And he looked at me and he was like, Jamie, go talk to one of your aunts. I can't help you with that.
Trying to use his discomfort to get your way. I love that.
Well, and that came in later even, because when I would get cramps, I would just call him and be like, Daddy, I don't feel well. I have cramps. He'd be like, okay, I'll call you out of school.
That's the golden ticket. There you go.
That was a short-lived thing, because my stepmom had 3 daughters and was a nurse. So the cramp thing didn't last for very, it didn't.
Wow.
You keep teasing this information.
Yeah.
You've now mentioned stepmom, the ring, that you had more of the why me later. So tell us, move us forward. And keep talking. What's happening?
So my mom passed away in 2004. She had a best friend from high school that I've known my entire life, right? Knew me before I existed, basically. And 40 years or something, I think they were, she was friends with my mom, and then also, my dad when he came in the picture. And after my mom died, there was a lot of, I think, conversations that were happening. She has 3 daughters, and my dad's like, "Oh, I don't know what to do with a girl, you know?" So I think it kind of started organically that way, and just like a shared grief and like what the hell do I do now kind of thing. And then it just slowly, she was divorced, and it just slowly transformed into this like loving relationship. And she moved out to PA. They got married in March of 2006. And so then, the world kind of shifted again. And I, had a stepmom. We got a dog for the first time ever. I was 16. It was like the best thing in the world. And I had 3 sisters. And I was like, this is amazing. I've never had sisters before. Yay. This is so exciting. So, then stepmom came in, and that was kind of awesome. I mean, I always loved her, right? Like she was always, we joked when I was in elementary school, my stepsisters were like, oh, we'll just call each other cousins. It's easier than my mom's best friend and her kids, like that's such a mouthful. So it was just my aunt and my cousins, and so that was like a really amazing kind of turn of things that came out of what had so tragically happened.
And that's incredible, because most 16-year-olds are not thrilled about a step family situation taking place. Now, obviously, this is very unique.
Yeah, it felt so easy because she never tried to step in and be like, okay, I'm your mom now. No. And like we were sharing in our grief, like most of the things that I know about my mom as a kid came from her because they were so tight.
Wow.
And, and even like my grandfather died when my mom was 14, and she remembered my grandfather, so it was all these things that were like, or like one of my mom's siblings made like a video montage of pictures, and I was showing it to her after Christmas one time, and she was like, oh my God, that's Mr. Marola, my grandfather. But like, it was just such a like thing for her. It was just so like, it was so unique, but so like happy and good. And, and so that was, super fun. She got me through the rest of high school and college. And, I moved to North Carolina for 6 years after college, and kind of got me through all of those trials and tribulations and jobs and boyfriends and all the things. And in 2019, she got diagnosed with lung cancer. It was stage 4 lung cancer. And it was kind of all right, here we go again, And obviously I was 29 at that point. So in my wisdom, I knew that cancer did not equal death.
Yeah.
But I also knew that it was kind of a wait and see game, and we could be getting back there, right? And so she got diagnosed in April. And I actually moved back up here that June. I was doing my own treatment and then ended up staying up here. And by November, she had gone downhill, and we kind of knew where this was headed. And that's a lot of where the like, why are we doing this again?
Yeah.
Like, was one time not enough?
Yes.
Like, I remember I'm not a very religious person, but I kind of remember being like, okay, well, everybody says, all of my religious friends say, God has a plan, and we don't know God's plan, and we have to trust in God's plan. What kind of God has a plan to kill off a girl's mother twice? And that was, I remember just the like, really, we're doing this again? Like, one time wasn't enough. We're doing this again.
It feels like a cruel, sick joke.
It was.
That's horrible.
For sure. So, and I mean, obviously it was different. Like my stepsister had a daughter. She was like 5 maybe at the time. So, I mean, there was like that whole component. It had been a more drawn out experience because it was April to December and not, like 10 weeks total. And hospice got involved, and, there were a lot of different things, but, that angle of like, okay, there's this 5-year-old, and how do you explain death to a 5-year-old? And the hospice did a very good job. I was able to kind of chime in with some of the things that I knew from Olivia's house. It was definitely a different experience as an adult.
Yeah.
There was a lot of quick drives back from Philadelphia, because we're all spread out. I was the closest in distance. So it was, like coming home early around Christmas so I could, clean the house or, feed the dogs or whatever, because my dad was at the hospital pretty much all day with her.
So going back to your mom passing, what was your grief process like as you were moving forward in your life?
I think I just kind of stopped. It was a lot of like just moving through the motions of life. Like it all caught up to me when I went to college. And that was like, I don't know, when the like big grief happened, I, had experience with depression and all these things. And it just all kind of caught up to me there, because I think sometimes when you are young and you have a loss like that, you kind of just stop in your development and you stay like whatever the age is that you were when you lost the parent. I forget what it's called.
You can get stunted. And
Yeah, it was like stunted development. And so I think there was like some of that happening where I just like, I didn't mature necessarily. Like I didn't want to get my driver's license. I didn't want to do all these things and kind of like move through some of those things. And so I mean, there wasn't like a hugely difficult time that I remember. I think having Monica there was helpful because she like had done all these girl things before and, could take me homecoming dress shopping or, like do the things with me that, I missed out on with my own mom.
We talk about this a lot, about how, oftentimes adults will think a child experiencing a death is just going to destroy them. Whereas oftentimes it's the opposite. Children are so resilient. You keep going.
Yeah.
That was okay. On this Thursday, my mom's down in Johns Hopkins and we're doing this. Now this Thursday, my mom has died. My dad is trying to figure this out. We're doing this. It's not perfect,
Right.
but there's good days and bad days, the same as for all of us.
Right.
It's just sometimes the bads are, a little harder and I come up later.
Guess the hardest things were I had been taking dance lessons. I danced for 12 years when I was growing up, and she passed away in May, and it was like 3 weeks before the dance recital. And that dance recital specifically was really big because I had hit 10 years. And they make this big to-do about like you get your trophy on stage at intermission and they say your name and how many years you've been dancing and whatever. And so it was like this big deal. And we had talked about it earlier that year, like, oh, Jamie, like this is your 10-year, like, are you excited? And that is such a like mom-centric thing, right? Like just the whole dance. I mean, the show was Dance Moms for a reason, right? So, I mean, they weren't like that, but it was, it was all the moms in the waiting room at the dance studio waiting for us to be done practice, and all the moms in the dressing room on recital night and all of those things. And so having to do that, like I said, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks after she died. And it was like, okay, well, now I don't have a mom and I don't have anyone helping me change out of this costume into that costume, and thankfully that community was just amazing. And I think I had like 5 moms because I didn't have one. And so they just all like, and they were all friends with my mom. So, a lot of them were also grieving, but it was like, okay, we're going to rally around her and, we're going to take her in. And if that means you're crying on me and your mascara's on my shirt, no, that's what it means, and it's just like, where, you're friends with our daughter, your mom was our friend. Like, this is just what the community does. So that was really beautiful. But I think those were probably the hardest times, those very specific things where everybody has a mom, but Jamie doesn't have a mom,
It sounds like you were surrounded by a lot of good people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had an amazing community around us. So it was really nice.
And I am so curious how this plays into the wedding dress story. Tell us. This was teased off mic, so fill us in.
Okay, so Monica passed away at the end of 2019. In 2020, during COVID, I was back in New York. But Bill, my husband, and I, we met on a dating app, and we started talking, started dating in the middle of the pandemic. I, moved back to the area whenever work started back up. I was teaching at the time, so we were virtual for a while. And then we got engaged in 2022. And so then I was like, okay, like we're wedding planning. This is great, whatever. And I don't have mom. So I decided I was going to go dress shopping with my best friend from college, my maid of honor. We went to one place. I was like, I've never tried on dresses before. I just want to try on like silhouettes and, whatever, see what I like, see what I don't like. Second time we went, I took my maid of honor and a bridesmaid. And it was again, sort of like, well, we're not going to find the one on the second trip. Like that would be insane. And so I had kind of assembled this mom squad, is what I called it. It was two of my aunts and then a friend of mine that I had met when I was in college, but she was like a non-traditional student. So her kids are all like the same age as me. So I call her Mama Lisa. And so those were my three, like my mom squad crew. And I think Mama Lisa had been on like, okay, like you tell me when and I'll go with you. But she didn't go this time. It was just my maid of honor and my bridesmaid. And we went and I tried on a dress and I came out of the dressing room and I bawled my eyes out. And they both, knew of Monica and my mom, but, they like were around for when Monica, was sick. And I remember my maid of honor, whose name is also Lisa, she looked at me and she was like, okay, are we crying because we love the dress or are we crying about mom stuff? Like, what are we doing? And I was like, I think it's both.
Wow, man. That's those moments,
Yeah. And I mean, it was a really joyful moment and like such a lovely thing to have with like two of my closest friends. But I just remember feeling like, okay, now I need that validation. Like I need the validation that a mom would give me.
Yes.
And there was nobody there. And the reception in that bridal salon was really, really crappy. We ended up FaceTiming with Mama Lisa. I was like, I just need you to love the dress like I do. And so, we like had someone hold the phone back so she could get a hold of you. And she was tearing up and I was tearing up and we had the moment. But it was just, I just remember being like, okay, is there anyone on the street? Like, does that person look like she could be 60? Like, she could be my mom. Like, bring her in, Like, it was just like anybody. Like, it was such an aching feeling of just wanting to have that moment with someone. And it almost didn't matter who it was, Like
mom energy is very real. And when you can get that, it's,
And I remember thinking about it, like, I've never had that feeling before. Well, no, Jamie, you never had that feeling before because every other major event that you had Monica.
Yes.
Like this was the first big thing without her. And so, because I kind of remember thinking about it and being like, why did I never feel, right. Because there was always that
little buffer to carry you.
And she was very good at being like, I'm proud of you, but I know your mom would be proud of you too.
That's incredible.
So it was a lot of like, we were grieving together and she was just very much that voice of like, if your mom was here, she would tell you, or you know what I mean? So it was kind of like she was being the mom, but she was also being the mom through my mom.
Yes.
Kind of. So
she's a connection to your mom and also just to you as a mom figure.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So how did you incorporate your moms into your actual wedding? Did you do any rituals or did you have like a something blue?
So we decided we didn't want to do a lot because we didn't want to turn it into this like big grief-stricken wedding.
I think that's important to talk about because people can make it too grief-focused and can even make their partners uncomfortable.
We went to a wedding not that long ago where there was a mom loss and it was very like in everything. And we were just like, I don't know about that.
Yes, it's just a big sign that says I'm right smack dab in the middle of my grief work. And your wedding might not be the place for that.
Yeah.
So
So we did like a memorial table and we had, Monica and my mom, and we also had, my grandparents and his grandparents and Daisy, the first ever dog in my life was on there too, and so it was a lot of different people. It was not just mom focused. And then I bought off Etsy. They have these like charm things that you can attach to your bouquet and you like put pictures of the person, in the charms or whatever. So I did that for myself so that they were kind of, with me. And then I wore like a pearl necklace that actually was my grandmother's, but I have one and my mom had one. So I wore the one that was my mom's. So it was kind of like something from her and something from my grandma. Oh, we did, we got married in November. So we did sunflowers as the flowers, and they were Monica's favorite.
That's beautiful.
So my bouquet actually had sunflowers and daisies because I was like, I need my daisy to, be with me.
that.
But so the bridesmaids and everything had sunflowers in their bouquet, and then the cocktail hour tables had roses, and that was my mom's favorite flower. So we, it was like
Excellent.
very subtle little touches. Like
Excellent.
that. And my mom's wedding dress was like sort of destroyed after almost 40, not destroyed, but it was like
I understand.
yellowed and,
The test of time.
Right, exactly. So, but I took it to my seamstress and said, can you salvage a piece of this
Love.
and sew it into my dress? So there was a piece like right over my heart
Love that.
that she did. So that I think was everything that we kind of did. So it was very subtle touches.
Yes.
And, just like knowing, they were there, but it wasn't so like overtly,
It's still things everyone is enjoying,
Right,
but you get the
right.
little wink of like, oh,
Right.
the roses are for mom, the
Right.
sunflowers are for Moj.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
that.
Yeah.
What an interesting journey this has been for you. Where since your wedding, where has your grief journey taken you as you've missed your mom and Monica?
And what wisdom would that journey, as the kind of our final question here, what wisdom has that journey given you that you would give to others?
I mean, right now we're just kind of cruising through, bebopping through life. We're almost 2 years married. Talking about kids at some point. So I think that's kind of the next like grief reminder is, like grandma-less,
Yeah.
which, has been an interesting conversation, but, can't do everything in fear, right? Like if you, stop living because you are missing this person or that person. One of our friends, I talk about this with him all the time. If I stopped living after my mom died, I would not have gone to college, gotten a master's degree, gotten a second master's degree, moved to North Carolina. Like I wouldn't have done
Heck
all
yeah.
of these amazing things.
Heck
Like
yeah.
you have to just keep going. And it's not always easy. And there are days, like I remember wedding planning and doing a lot of journaling, being like, dear moms, we're going to pick a venue tomorrow. And it really sucks because
Love
dad
that
doesn't
coping.
have great opinions, like whatever. So I know I'm throwing him under the bus. I love you, Dad.
That's such good coping, honestly. Writing, journaling, letters, and honestly, everything you just said was
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Well, and that's, everything I know about grief, I learned from Olivia's house. Should I write a book? Like,
always writing is the best coping.
I joke a lot and tell people with all the grief that I've gone through that I have a PhD in grief. Like that's like, my dad joked with me after I got my master's about going for a PhD. And I was like, I don't need to. I have a PhD in grief. And it was free, best kind of PhD. So I think that would be the advice is like, just keep moving through life. You can't just stop living because that will prevent a lot of really great things from happening.
That's
You're
some
a
great
beacon of
advice.
hope.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Jamie, at the end of all of our episodes, if you've listened, you know the drill. We like to toast to your loved ones. So we would like to toast to both of your moms today. So tell us their names, first and last.
Okay, so my mom's name was Karen Lissauer,
Okay.
and my stepmom's name was Monica Lissauer.
Okay. All right. So we're going to toast to Karen and Monica. So on the count of 3, everybody grab your drinks or your fake drinks. 1, 2, 3. To Karen and Monica. Clink. Thank you so much, Jamie, for being on the
course.
pod. Thank you for sharing your moms with us and your wisdom. You are definitely, put some great energy out there for others to be very hopeful about.
Thank you.
All right. We want to also acknowledge, I think you hear it every pod, especially if you're a listener, but we wouldn't be here if it weren't for Monica. And when I say the M&M Lissauer Foundation every episode, and I say that is what Guess Who Died is thanks to, one of those M's is Monica, right? And the other one is your dad, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So that it is Jamie and Jamie's family and the legacy of these moms that even allows this to happen. So we are just you are part of this. So Jamie's actually been here every week, even though you guys didn't notice because her spirit is part of this.
And we
space.
just love you guys. I mean, that mission that Olivia's house brings to York and beyond, we just love every part of it. So I'm so happy that I'm not 7 hours away anymore, so I can come, for more things.
Us too. Us too.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks,
course.
Jamie.
Thank you.
We'll be right back on Guess Who Died.
Guess Who Died is brought to you by Olivia's House, a grief and loss center for children. Olivia's House is a community-funded organization that provides comfort and education to families when they need it most, and we are able to keep our doors open thanks to donations from people just like you. Find out ways to support or get support from Olivia's House by visiting www.oliviashouse.org.
And we're back with Jeff, myself, Julia, producer Casey. Our guest has left the building. This is Guess Who Died. And Jeff, how is it having Jamie here? That was a big story.
And she was able to share it so well and so givingly. I mean, she just let it all flow. And I was just first 5 minutes, I'm thinking 13 years old and then 16 years old, and then you lose your stepmom too. And it's like, how do you? It's hard not to feel like you went dark.
Yeah.
And she just, like she said, she just kept doing things, just moving forward, and it was amazing to me.
Yes. And of course, it has been some years. She is an adult now, and so there's been time for her to continue growing and healing. But and 2019 was not that long ago that her stepmother died, and her second mom. So I think even in talking about that experience, that she's able to find these moments of ritual and memory. I agree. You would almost expect her to be so angry and resentful.
Easy, yes.
Yeah. And a lot of people would go there. And I think that is a key, is that other people would go dark. And especially if you're raised in a family where that victim mentality is very prevalent. So I think this is also a testament to not only Jamie's dad, who we love, but her community of moms. Not just second mom, stepmom that stepped in, but all, Mama Anna or Mama Lisa and everyone that was at the appointment and the ones she was able to call. I think that community of people around you is so crucial after.
And right from the very beginning, when she had that first moment in dance, 3 weeks later, and everybody just surrounded her and we were there for her, and that's amazing. And to have that support is so huge when you're going through a tough time like that. And the resilience of kids, you talk about that a lot, and you definitely saw that here.
Big time. That when they're just going through the motions, but then sometimes it does come back and hit you in college when your brain has had a moment to slow down, or you're in a new environment and you look back and you realize, wow, I'm a person whose mom died when they were 13. That's part of my identity. That's how I introduce myself in college classes. And that's going to bring on a whole new wave of emotions. She has such a beautiful vision of what it really looks like to have experienced death as a child.
And get out of my head, because I'm sitting here as you're talking thinking grief is a wave.
Yes.
And it's a continual wave. It's like you get on that wave on your surfboard and you take it where it's going to go, and you just lean wherever you got to go. And sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder, but it's that continual wave. And it is part of who we are forever.
Forever. Yes. And her message at the end there of just always moving forward, continuing, not letting it. I think the way she said it was, I didn't stop living when my mom's died. And I think that is a really cool way to think about it, is that you keep living. And yeah, she embodies that.
For sure.
All right. Well,
it's been, and
we even said it to ourselves. Jamie said it all. There's nothing
we
else
sat
to
here.
say.
I'm like, I didn't have to really ask much. She was she just threw it out there, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if you listen to this podcast, it can help you.
Absolutely. So you will catch us back here next time. Hopefully we don't lose any more wrestling legends between now and then. But it's been another great episode. It's been great to share with you all, and we hope to have provided you some hope. You will see us next time. And to find out Who died? Guess Who Died is an Olivia's House production, sponsored in part by the M&M Lissauer Family Foundation.